Chris hit us up. He said, why do people just assume Ohio State can win a national title every year? My answer is because they can win a national title every year.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. It's about stamina. It's about you won't break me. You can't take me. It's too late now. It's too late. You should have broke me a long time ago. I'm unbreakable now. The only chance at this point is you gotta kill me. And you gotta kill me now. And then when you kill me, my legacy will live.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back. It's been a minute. It's your boy Ron James here with my guy, the Bonnet QPC. I mean, you were zoomed in on it as soon as we opened up. It wasn't even your face. It was just the bonnet. I wasn't sure if you were going to be here, if I was just going to be talking to the nightcap.
Y'all can have it. Yo, shit was good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been a minute since we talked. Happy holidays to everybody. A happy New Year's here on this New Year's Eve. So much to talk about. It's been quite some time. When last time we talked, I believe, was right after the Tennessee game.
Yeah, it was right after. That's the last one. I say it was the 42-17 ass whooping that occurred.
Yes, a good one to come back for. This morning, a little bit of a rough start for both of us. You having a little bit of trouble with your setup, me trying to put together the thumbnail. I didn't even have it in the right format. It's been so long since we've done a show. I've been sick the past couple of days, but we're battling through it. I mean, we are in the middle of a national championship run, so we had to be here. We wouldn't have done a show anyways, even if you weren't traveling, because I was sick. But we are back, man.
Yeah, it feels good. We had that impromptu with Chris Drew. I put up my studio together, then I had to unpack it this morning and put it back together. So
our guy Don said, y'all are never on time. That's correct.
just happy to be here. Once we get past, we'll work on the parts past that.
Exactly.
Like 6 in the morning where I'm up like, oh, where's my stuff?
A little bit of a later start today. I'm not working. I don't know about you. No? Okay. No, see, we got plenty of time here. A late start. Hopefully, we got more people coming in here. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you go ahead and retweet that video and smash that like button. We are going to jump right into it. My favorite thing to ask you after we haven't talked to each other in a while: how much football have you watched since the last time I've talked to you? How many bowl games have you watched since the Tennessee game?
I really have not. I think
my God, this guy. Look, you listen to the national media, and you know what they say? They tell you these bowl games are not going to lure in the casual. Q, are you ever beating the allegations of being casual? Because you have not watched one bowl game outside of the playoffs.
I watched the final, I guess, quarter-ish of Toledo and Pitt. So I guess that was exciting.
That's a good one to watch.
Yeah, that was a good one. Toledo pulling it out. Shout out to Ohio. So that one I did watch. It was kind of a crazy game, but yeah, outside of that, man, I don't know. I just felt like there's not been a lot of games outside of the playoffs when we've seen that I've been like, oh, I gotta go see that. It was like, all right, well, I'll see what happens, or I'll check it at halftime and it looks exciting. I'll jump in. So it hasn't been much pulling my interest. More movies right now than anything.
I don't know what you did after the Toledo game, but I know one thing you did do was miss potentially the best game of bowl season, and that was the Rutgers Kansas State game. And that game was so fun to watch. Well, particularly because my buddy is a Rutgers fan and was like, I'm pulling up to watch the game, and then makes me shut off the five overtimes of Pitt and says, I'm not fucking watching this. Rutgers is on. So, the Big Ten loyalist that I am, I flip the channel, you know what I mean? Keep the TV revenue up. And we start watching the Rutgers game, and my buddy turns to me as Rutgers is up 2 touchdowns and goes, you know what? I really like this quarterback. He just doesn't make dumb mistakes and throw games away. And that's why this season has just been so fun to enjoy. Rutgers proceeds to throw a pick 6 on the next possession and go on to lose that game by 3 points. And it was fucking hilarious to watch. And it was probably still, as funny as it was, the second funniest loss of bowl season when you talk about the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, man, you have to.
The Miami Hurricanes fall to Iowa State. And man, have the Miami spaces been great these past couple days, but all the talk has been about Cam Ward and his decision to sit out in the second half. Reports initially came out that it wasn't predetermined that he was going to sit out. Later reports say that it's been planned for weeks. Q, who you believe in?
Yeah, I don't believe he just quit on his team at halftime. I know everyone will say that. I think it was the plan to go out, probably play, have a good first half, and kind of give it a night call because there's really nothing else Cam Ward can do or prove. Now I have hated on Miami this entire season from the start, saying this team isn't real, they're not very good. Wait till they play somebody. I think I might have sparked Ron's rant, his famous rant on the timeline when I said, "Call me when they beat Georgia Tech," and he proceeded to go in on Miami. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, I think he kind of playing that. I'll play till halftime. We'll see how it goes, and then I'll let y'all have it. And they did. Unfortunately, they had an L, but I'll sit here and laugh about it because it's pretty funny. Also, I need to connect back to the Miami space. Every time they lose, I go looking for them, and I cannot find them. So
someone must have you banned because I've been in. If you see me on Twitter, that's the only place that I've been hiding in Miami space. Is just soaking it all in. And look, honestly, I'm gonna dive into it a little bit. I didn't want to talk about this. I didn't have this in the show notes. But my big takeaway from the Miami spaces this weekend, college football is hard, man. Because you sit and you listen to them and the things that they complain about, and it's the same thing that every fan base complains about. And it's almost like you're looking around and you ask college football fans, what team is just what fan base is just happy with their team right now? Like, let me know in the chat. Like, is there a team other than the Buckeyes that you would trade places with right now? How many teams out there are there that people just have everything solved, everything's perfect, and their fan base is just happy?
Yeah, I know one team, but I don't know how long that'll last. Probably the fans at Oregon out there. I'm pretty sure they're pretty happy. They've won the Big Ten. They haven't lost yet. And they got, looks like one more hurdle before they can really be happy, because that last thing they're hoping for is that natty that we always be like, yeah, how many natties y'all got? Oh, 0? Okay, let me know when you win one. So for the most part, they're happy right now.
Well, I hope they go into this last hurdle looking like when the JV team has the tryouts for who's going to try hurdles and people are busting their face on the track. I don't want to see the Ducks clear that hurdle. And that's the perfect transition, because the national media seems to be painting this narrative that Oregon's the underdogs. And you, a casual, but an informed casual, is able to see that there should be no team more confident than Oregon coming into this game, given the circumstances. And yes, people are high on the Buckeyes after this Tennessee win, but plenty of people have been high on Oregon all year after they beat the Buckeyes, after they won the Big Ten championship. They're the number 1 seed in the college football playoffs for a reason. Yet Oregon media wants you to believe that they're the underdog.
In a way, it makes a little sense. I mean, you have to feel as an Ohio State fan right now that you went into Oregon You had injuries. You didn't play your best. You kind of played your B game, maybe B. No, I wouldn't even say B plus. I would say you played your B game at Oregon. It was a solid performance. The secondary got absolutely toasted. Oregon got the famous onside kick, just a magical, probably a once in a 5-season event. And you come down to
you bring
it.
up that onside kick, bro.
Yeah.
Cam brought that up to me on the phone the other day, and like it was like PTSD. You know, like that war meme where he's just sitting there in shock. That was me because I was like, I between that and the Quinshawn fumble, like I've completely erased, like Men in Black style, erased them from my memory, and like to revisit this game as we approach it, it seems like, yes, I know we did have the one touchdown or the one pass on one of the early drives that went our way that probably shouldn't went our way and resulted in a touchdown on that drive. But there were plenty of things that happened that were fluky, and the Buckeyes will look to probably correct this week.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about a Quinshawn fumble as well, and you look up, you're what, 1 second? Maybe 1 second. I don't know if they stop the clock when people slide.
1 second away from a missed field goal.
Yeah, you're 1 second away from or making it finally. So, I mean, you got to feel pretty confident, especially the way last game went. I'm sure we'll jump into it later, but you got to feel a little confident. I think the media is buying into that. I think they're like, oh, well, this the Ohio State team we're getting. Then they'll probably go beat Oregon. You feel like the secondary won't give as much. You feel like Ohio State's offense has got together, and they played well in the first game. So you feel like they can repeat that. The defense is a little bit better. This looks like an Ohio State probability to go get a win, but we will see. Hopefully Ohio State didn't use all their juice, all their Gatorade points last week. So we will see, but I see where the media hype is coming from.
I don't like to give away the big reveal of the show this early, Q, but we do have to get to the biggest news of the day because you did touch on it. You said the Buckeyes were 1 second away from a potential field goal in that Oregon game. One Jaden Fielding made a 57-yard field goal in practice yesterday. Are you buying or selling practice footage of a kicker?
I just saw a week ago Jaden Fielding kick. How far was that in the Tennessee game?
I don't know. It's so funny because on the Bleacher, I went back and rewatched the Bleacher Report videos after we missed the kicks on against Michigan, and they were like 36-41 or some shit like that. I'm on the post game, but I'm like, you're out there missing 16 and 22 yarders. Like the way the amount that people paid for Ohio State's roster keeps growing, the distance on Jaden Fielding's missed field goals keeps shrinking when I talk about them.
Yeah, so he absolutely kicked it in the horseshoe. It had no chance. It looked like I kicked it. Not even you. You would have had a better chance of making it. It looked like I kicked that field goal right before the half against Tennessee. So I'm not buying it. If it comes down to a field goal, I'm sorry, y'all. Just like it was just not meant to be. That's how I feel.
Some might argue that some of these next pieces of news may have been bigger news than a 57-yarder in practice, but I will let you be the judge, Q. The Buckeyes land a trio of four. We talked about the tackle from Minnesota already since we've been back or since we've done the show, correct?
I don't know if we have actually. I think
he
may have came right after we talked.
Okay, so we'll start there. The Buckeyes land a transfer tackle from Minnesota, cousin of Paris Johnson. The start of a run of transfer portal signings for the Buckeyes. So we will start with the offensive line. The Buckeyes signed Daniels out of Minnesota, and they also get I'm lost here in my notes. They signed the kid from Rice, I'm blanking on the name, Q.
Ooh, I'm trying to see where you got it in here. Let's see, we got Donaldson, we got George, defensive end, and isn't that it? I didn't see the kid from Rice. Where is it at? Where's he at in here? Because I forget his name now. I got a bug in here. My fault, y'all.
Ethan Onua. There we go. Shout out to the chat. Ethan Onua, the tackle from Rice. I don't know if you've seen the footage on this kid of him shaking people violently in the locker room before games.
I have not. I'm gonna go look that up, but I will take it. You know how me and Mike feel about the culture.
So it looks like Justin Fry goes out there and adds 2 tackles to the offensive line room. Q just disappeared on me.
I'm here. Blurry. I didn't go nowhere.
Justin Fry goes out and lands 2 transfer portal tackles, and I feel like we're constantly having this conversation. Development or recruiting? Justin Fry goes out with 2 big hits in the transfer portal already. What are your thoughts on these pickups? And again, I feel like we've asked this question a million times. Is this enough for Justin Fry to save his job?
Well, you got to look at it and say, hey, like, we haven't necessarily went out and got the creme de la creme as far as the roster goes, as far as the offensive line goes. But when you play on the field, I mean, you look at it right now, how many linemen we're down, and I'm trying to fix my camera, so give me a minute with that one. But how many linemen we're down, the offensive line still looks good and impressive. So, I mean, if he's going to develop at this level of a high clip and have guys who you think about it, the offensive line we have now, it was guys you were like, yeah, we got them. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. Next thing you know,
where are you? Area 51 or Arizona, bro? Your screen is black. Your mic is in the portal. What is going on there? Yes, and your screen is black. No, yeah, I can hear you. It's cutting out, but your camera's black.
Yeah, that was the part I was trying to fix while I was talking in here before you interrupted my point. Anyway, my point was, while I fixed my camera, is that you look at the talent on the field. When we got those guys in, you said, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. Next thing you know, offensive line looking crazy. It's looking good. So I'm confident in Justin Fry bringing guys in and developing them and having them ready to play.
They said you must have a UAV jammer under that bonnet with the way your internet is disconnecting. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You can't hear me?
I can hear you now. You cut out there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, so it must be me.
What happened? Man, this has been quite the return of shows. But yeah, so the Buckeyes go out, they grab Phillip Daniels, Ethan Onua. They continue to add in this transfer class 5 portal additions already. The first one, we started our show for the Bleacher Report about a week ago. Chris and I did that. Would you like to? So when we talked about when we did the Bleacher Report show, there had only been 4 portal additions so far. The Buckeyes had not landed tight end Max Clare. The Buckeyes go out and add the number 1 transfer tight end in the country. On top of the transfer news or lack thereof transfer news, former Ohio transfer, Will Kazmarek will be returning to the Buckeyes, which leaves the Buckeyes with a loaded tight end room going into next year, with Max Clare joining Jelani Thurman and Will Kazmarek. Your thoughts there on the current state of the tight end room?
Well, I don't know how much that lineman rant you just heard, but I'll do the tight end rant as well. Yeah, we have a lot. I mean, Adam Max Clare from Purdue, he's going to play and come in. That Will Kazmarek is back, and I know everybody's looking like, we got this kid, Jelani Thurman, over here. Like, when's he going to start? Obviously. It's a loaded tight end room. There's a lot of talent in that room. Like I said, even bringing in a transfer portal tight end was like, I mean, we're recruiting pretty well. I want to see these guys hit the field eventually. So I don't know. Keaton Bailey has his room cut out. He's recruited too well to be continuing to bring in guys. So I want to see guys play, but at least you feel comfortable with the experience in that room and the talent.
I feel like we can't have it both ways, and I have to stay consistent on this, even though I like to flip-flop a ton. But I'm going to try to stay consistent here. Picking and choosing. I'm trying to stop picking and choosing. That's a New Year's resolution in 2025. We're going to try to keep it consistent. And one of the things that I want to keep it consistent with is if the best player is available, if one of the best players in the country is available in the portal, you go get them. And I know it stinks for younger guys. I know there's guys that we want to see, but at Ohio State, when we're competing at the highest level, we're in the middle of a national championship run. You need guys that are competing to be in the conversation of best in the country at every position. And if you're not recruited here and able to develop into that, and the Buckeyes choose to go out and attain that, now if they're going out and getting guys that aren't performing to play over recruits, that's a problem. But if you're going out and getting elite talent, I have no problem with it. And as much as I want to see Jelani Thurman succeed here, if the Buckeyes have an opportunity to go out, I mean, you look at what Cade Stover did here at Ohio State. He set the record for most receptions in a single season as a tight end with 41. Claire had 56 last year. I know the tight end, I mean, we've talked about it a million times. What happened to the tight end position on this roster? It seemed like last year we were screaming, why the fuck are we scheming up plays for Cade when Mar's standing over there? And now it's like, hey, Keenan Bailey, do you have a position room? Like, you see G. Scott and Jelani pop up in moments, but it's nowhere near the dose of tight end that we used to get in years past. And Ryan Day used to talk about using the tight end a ton. And oddly enough, Cade Stover ended up being the one that he used the most. I feel like Claire is a significant upgrade to even what Cade Stover was as far as a receiving threat. So it'll be interesting to see how much the Buckeyes choose to use him next season.
Yeah, with Casimir coming back, I'm a little surprised. That was the one part I was a little surprised we both had him back and brought somebody in. And you just don't want the. I guess I agree with you. You want to have a great player. You want to go out and get him, and obviously be loaded at all positions. You just kind of don't want the Joe Royer experience. Where you bring in a guy and Joe Royer's like, okay, you keep bringing in guys, this room's loaded. Let me go to Cincinnati and absolutely light shit up. And you're like, well, damn, that would be the best guy on the roster right now if he was still enrolled. So you don't quite want that situation to happen. But I mean, I agree with you. You can't have it both ways. There's a great player out there. You got to go get him. And obviously back to Claire, he's made a name for himself and he comes here. So you expect him to go ball out.
Yeah, I just looked up Joe Royer's numbers. 50 receptions, 522 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
I mean, hey, man, Joe Royer's been out there. He's been balling at Cincinnati. He's played early also. That's what you don't want. But, hey.
The last addition in the transfer portal so far for the Buckeyes, I wouldn't say last because I don't think the Buckeyes are done here. But the last one that we will be discussing today, running back C.J. Donaldson. Out of West Virginia, power back. I was familiar with this name not because of my affinity for West Virginia football, but because I play college football 25, and this guy is an absolute fucking freak show on there. Anytime you get a guy that pops up and they're like, oh yeah, did you see that new 6'5", 240-pound running back? Yeah, like let me go get my credit card so I can get that player on my roster. And now he plays for my team in real life. Q, your thoughts on this addition to the running back room? Because you look at those measurables and you think of Coach Locke and his mentality, and you just want to say a prayer for Big Ten defenses next year.
Yeah, for a little bit, I felt like we were streamers. Will you go to the video game reference? That's what they say with the NBA. Be like, yo, he be cooking at 2K. Why are you looking for the Pacers? Like every time I use him, he be hitting. CJ Donaldson. I wasn't familiar with him like you were, but as soon as we got him, I cut on the tape and I was like, oh, okay, we got something here. So, yeah, if we talk about the tight end room and how loaded they're going to be, I feel really good about this running back room right now. James Peoples, we'll see with Quishon Judkins. I think he will leave. I don't think he will come back, but I've heard rumblings of maybe he'll step back in the door. So we'll see. But if he doesn't, right now, you pair him with James Peoples. Sam Williams-Dixon is in there. We'll see what the freshman running backs bring in. But I feel good about this room. And this looks like another dude in a year we'll talk about, like, how do we get him? He's an absolute pro, an absolute dude. How do we sneak him on this roster and have him playing at a high level, potential all Big Ten level here? So we will see. But, yeah, I'm actually excited about this one.
Yeah, man, a huge pickup. And shout out to Coach Locke. I mean, the job that he's done in the portal and keeping this, elevating this running back room, keeping this room going as far as filling it out after the misses and the flips that we've seen on signing day and going out and adding another portal running back a second year in a row. You love to see it from the Buckeyes. I want to pivot a little bit to the games that you probably won't watch today. Will you be hate watching Michigan?
I will not spend my time hate watching Michigan today. But Michigan, Alabama, I don't expect them to pull Ohio State and find a way to make that competitive. I expect Alabama to roll today and absolutely demolish them.
I take no joy out of that, because I feel like Michigan fans will take nothing from this game. Like, they will hold nothing from it. They will accept no accountability from going out and showing their ass. It'll just be Bryce Underwood, Dave Portnoy's money, Oracle money. That's all you're going to hear from them. No one's going to want to talk about them looking like a bucket of mid. So I'm right there with you. I don't even know if I'm going to waste my time, because not even be able to get jokes off, because they're going to be out there deflecting like Fruit Ninja and making sure that nothing sticks to them when you talk about what you see from this game. And it's like, what are we even watching? And like, it stinks that it kind of feels like these bowl games have become devalued, because you know what would make me watch the game? If you told me Bryce Underwood was playing, that would get me to watch the game. But I want to watch, and it's like,
not.
And I want to disrespect Davis Warren, but that nigga beat us. I can't even say nothing crazy. Like,
it just doesn't. I don't know, man. With the bowl committee, it just felt like, you know, sometimes with, and I felt this over the years, not just this year, but just with matchups. Sometimes it's like, okay, Alabama, like, they've been exciting this year. I've liked seeing them play. I've liked seeing guys go off, but you put them up against Michigan, I'm like, that's not something. It's just not something I want to watch. Like, give me two exciting teams. You know, you got to bury the teams no one wants to see, all in the bad games. Get them out the way early. And any teams that just wild, just Kansas State, just, oh, they're going to come out. Game's going to be crazy. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. It's going to be exciting. And pair all those teams at the end, and then maybe we'll get some views in there. It's just like, all right, Alabama, I'm in for that. And Michigan, they're not even going to throw the ball. No, I'm good.
The other game that I doubt you will watch, but I mean, if you're staying consistent, you have watched the playoff games. Will you be watching Penn State, Boise State tonight?
I will absolutely be watching Penn State, Boise State. That is the one I was waiting for. This one, I'm locked in here. I want to see this Penn State defense been pretty real all season. And all season, what have we talked about? This running back out here in Iowa going absolutely stupid, even against Oregon. Now, this is a test here. I expect Penn State to roll in this game, but I want to see what happens, because this is the one I've been waiting for, to see, like, all right, we talked about letting in these non-Power 5 teams. We finally got one that looked pretty good early in the year against Oregon. Probably should have won that game if they don't give up 2 special team touchdowns. So this is their opportunity right here. This is their shot. So this is the one I've been waiting for.
Do you have a prediction in this one? And will you be watching with your Big Ten foam finger?
No, I will not. I mean, if Penn State loses, we can just all go laugh at Penn State as we always do. Like, we beat them every year. So I don't necessarily want them to lose. Did I say Iowa? I mean Idaho. My fault. Yeah, I would not be watching.
One of them flyover states that starts with an I.
Yeah, you know, Idaho, Iowa, same thing, different location. But yeah, no, I would not. I want to see a good game here. If Boise State wins, I'll be like, hey, man, the committee got something right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the committee didn't get anything right, and James Franklin is James Franklin is going to get another security notch in his belt as far as a playoff win, because at this point, if James Franklin beats Boise State, what can Penn State fans bitch about? Like, okay, you lose to Ohio State and Michigan. Everyone lost to Michigan last year, and everyone loses to Ohio State except for a few teams, and the ones that do beat Ohio State, you guys don't spend more than. So when people say that James Franklin is overrated, it's one of the most frustrating phrases in college sports, because I think he's properly rated. James Franklin is, I believe, some insane record, like 19-1 in games where he is favored by 7 to 21 points. He beats who he's supposed to beat and loses when he's supposed to lose. I don't know who Penn State thinks they're going to go out and get that's better than James Franklin, but I hope this game puts to bed all of the James Franklin narratives. And I say all of this knowing that if he goes out there and gives us a James Franklin special, I will be burying him on the timeline. just no. Well, I said no flip-flopping. Still 2024. As always,
always rules of picking and choosing. I mean, as long as he doesn't go absolutely crazy. I mean, I will. I have my Penn State foam finger for next week when they go play Georgia, and it's absolutely coming out because I would love to see a Penn State win there. That would make my new year basically. But yeah, it's a competitive game here. But yeah, I think James Franklin is doing a fine job, and I'm with you. Like when they didn't go get Matt Rule, I was like, maybe that elevates this team about a year ago when before he went to Nebraska. I was like, you know what? It's cool with James Franklin. He goes to the Big Ten championship game. They perform admirably. They don't get blown out or anything, and actually have a chance to win that game. Not for a couple of mistakes here or there. So, hey, I don't know what you're complaining about. And if we have to live with Ryan Day, the stuff we got to deal with, I'm cool living with James Franklin and basically borderline Big Ten championship contesting team. So if I'm Penn State fans, I'm happy with it.
Exactly. Penn State fans should be happy with James Franklin, and I hope he doesn't make a fool of us after we just hyped him up this morning. Maybe we're giving him the reverse jinx. Who knows? I do have a question for you. I do want to talk a little bit about the Rose Bowl, but I wanted to plant a seed for later in the show. I want you to come up with your best and worst takes from the show this season that you can remember off the top of your head for a year-end wrap-up at the end. You already know which one I'm going to as the worst take on the show this season, but I won't spoil it. We're going to have to save that one for later. But Q, I want you to come up with hopefully a good take from yourself to redeem yourself, because I think my candidate for worst take of the year is probably going to try. I mean, I probably have some bad ones out there. I know I have some bad ones.
I can't escape.
But you have an elite one that you're never going to escape, and hopefully he redeems you next year. But man, if he gets fired, don't want to spoil too much. Rose Bowl storylines, Q. A lot of interviews, a lot of news coming out of the Rose Bowl. Bro, my first question is, who is Dylan Gabriel's plug? Because bro was fucking fried in one of his interviews that I seen the other day, and I just want to know, where do you get your gas, young man?
Bro, this is off the radar, but I have heard that the Pacific Northwest is the best place to grow tree and have it produced there. So it was a drug dealer. He had an interview on I forget what it is.
Did you say as a drug dealer or there's a drug dealer?
No, this drug dealer was talking about, he was I think he's from like Portland, and he was like, the Pacific Northwest is the best place to grow weed. He was buying it from like the cartel out there and selling it. So hey, Dylan Gabriel is certainly in the area to get quality. Not saying he is.
He drives a minivan like the motherfucking Mystery Machine in the Pacific Northwest. Like, bro, allegedly.
You got to throw that in there.
Allegedly.
But if you partake, that is a good place to get quality stuff, I've heard.
Another interview that I saw, Lincoln Kienholz talk to the media and mentioned that he will be staying with the Buckeyes at least through the spring. Speculation on the timeline when he says that he's going to compete for the starting job. Do you think that there's a scenario Ryan Day tries to bring in another one-year rental to compete with Julian Sain and Lincoln Kienholz?
Yeah, I kind of think that's exactly what happens here as we get to the spring. Obviously, we've seen the top name guys, and they're starting to fall off the board. So I think it's pretty much I think Ryan Day is gonna be like, you know what, I'm leaking it. I'm going with these young guys here and seeing who comes out. And point is proven. Redshirt freshman quarterbacks start all over the country. We were even hitting the time where freshman quarterbacks are trying to start all over the country if they're the most talented guy on roster. So you would think quarterback developer, guru, master of development Ryan Day paired with Chip Kelly, you would think in a couple of years they can get a guy right. I mean, unless we have the world famous Quinn Ewers reunion that people have been talking about for about a month now. If we don't get that, I expect him to be a veteran guy. And Ryan Day to roll out there and say, hey, Julian, hey, Tavius St. Clair, go get the job.
I am looking up the age of Arizona State's quarterback because you bring up redshirt freshman quarterbacks starting all over the country, but how many of them are in the playoffs and succeeding in the playoffs? I'm looking at Arizona State's quarterback, Sam Levitt. He's a freshman, so one freshman, and then the rest are experienced quarterbacks. How comfortable are you going in competing for a national championship with a first-year starter?
I mean, when you look at the weapons Ohio State has year in, year out, it makes you a little more comfortable. But I mean, we've seen CJ Stroud go out as a redshirt freshman. I get it. Best quarterback now that we've had. We don't get many of those, but you pretty comfortable with a redshirt freshman going out in this offense and producing. And if a guy is not making mistakes, doesn't have to absolutely go ball out. But if you were to insert a Nico into this offense next year, not saying the guy will be Nico, but you do that, you probably feel pretty comfortable about going in the next season saying, all right, we probably got a good chance to make a run at it.
How many Ohio State fans have went through this exercise and have been like, man, I wonder what transfer quarterbacks are out there. Like, who was lighting it up in college football this year? And they go to quarterbacks and sort by yards, and they look at the first name.
Not the best way to.
And they see Kyle McCord, and they're like, "Oh fuck! All right, well,
really balling."
Because you do that, and it's like, well, should we have got Kyle McCord? Well, should we have kept Kyle McCord? Probably not. Like Will Howard clearly balling out, the better fit, and Kyle McCord a beneficiary of his situation. I mean, had better advanced metrics at Ohio State than he did at Syracuse, but they were throwing the ball 1,000 times, which just shows you what type of crapshoot it is when you're not following a team year round and you're just like, oh, let me sort through these statistics and see who did good last year and would make a good transfer. Because I mean, when you first looked at Will Howard's stats last year, it wasn't anything spectacular. I believe it was 24 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I believe he added 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns on a yard. It wasn't anything that blew you away and was like, oh, Heisman contender the Buckeyes are getting. So it's kind of funny when you look at these stats and it's like, well, they can't be misleading because, I mean, people just push Kyle McCord out and then he's the leading passer in college football the following year. So, and then you see Will Howard at Kansas State, a guy that not many people would have said was going to be one of the top quarterbacks in college football. And he goes and elevates his game at Ohio State. So it'll be interesting to see if the Buckeyes do go out and pursue a rental, or if we do see the return to a first-year starter at quarterback. Do you feel like did you feel the comfort of having an experienced quarterback this year versus last year, just knowing that Will was battle tested at the very least?
I mean, last year I came in feeling like a third-year Kyle McCord was going to be ready to go. Now, obviously, he was not. He's been better this season, quote unquote. I mean, I'm kind of tired of the Kyle McCord talk. I mean, I feel like bro is playing in the AFC North, lighting it up right now instead of the ACC, because the way people talk about him, it's like oh, he's the GOAT. Like, he's really out here doing, and it's like, well, who's he playing against? But anyway, I digress. No offense to Kyle.
Well, I mean, whoa. So are you telling me that quarterback stats in the ACC are inflated?
Yeah, I mean, I forgot the ACC is known for defense ball and great teams.
What other quarterbacks play in the ACC?
Oh, just Cam Ward out there throwing for 1,000.
I digress. Oh man, story. What have you seen coming out of Bull Prep, Bull Talk? What narratives, what storylines have been piquing your interest on the timeline? Or have you just completely buried your head in the sand? Because that's what I tend to do when we're not doing shows. Like, it's like, when people say, don't ask me about work, like after work, or like, I used to love talking about Ohio State with other people. Now, if someone brings up please shut the fuck up. Not now. Like I don't care to hear about it. Do you tune out, or have you been in the loop?
I mean, I've heard a little bit of the noise. I heard Jeremiah Smith, out there challenging the Oregon secondary. I've heard Will Howard talk about, hey, man, you don't get a lot of second shots at a team here, and we can go right our wrongs for earlier in the season. So I haven't listened to a lot of noise. I try to stay away from the fan talk just a little bit. That way I'm not on this show just calling people out and addressing people. But yeah, I mean,
Joe Blow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fucking said.
You know Ohio State, man. You're not going to get nothing crazy coming out their locker room. It's basically a lot of business talk. You may get one or two small clips of something to be like, oh, all right, that piques my interest a little bit. They let bro get a line in there that he would actually say. So not too much. I've kind of blurred out the noise because I've just been waiting for this Oregon game for a week now. I've been like, look, man, I'm ready to go. We finally got this rematch. I was not very happy when I left the bar last time because I just felt like there was so much meat left on the bone for Ohio State. And, hey, we're back, man. So mostly I've been listening to my own noise like, hey, it's the Natty Run. We just got to get through this one. If we can win this one right here, we really going to be there. So, yeah, that's been mostly my week.
Yeah, two interesting videos seem to be getting clipped up a ton from the Jeremiah Smith interview. The statement that I guess wide receivers can't play physical in college anymore when referencing the pass interference call. Did you like that little jab at the Oregon secondary of like 18 years old? I'm throwing you little boys around. Like, you got to feel some type of way. Like you're Oregon, you're undefeated. You guys are the top dog allegedly, Big Ten champions, and then you got this 18-year-old saying, "I mean, I thought we could be physical. Are we playing football? Or are we playing tiddlywinks out here?"
Yeah, I think we're pretty upset at that call at the time. And because I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm a back Jeremiah Smith. But usually I'm on the corner side. I'm like, yo, the wide receivers, they get away with murder on pushing off and grabbing and doing all that. And if a DB holds them, but hey, it's Jeremiah Smith. So you know what? These corners out here playing soft. If you push them a little bit, they flop over. So I'm on his side on this one. I think he's learned from his mistake. I don't think we'll see as blatant of an arm extension this time. But, hey, man, that was Jeremiah Smith. That was what? We'll call that freshman Jeremiah Smith. We are fully in damn near going for best player in the nation, Jeremiah Smith, at this point. We always call him junior Jeremiah Smith as much as he's continued to grow and develop. So he gets his second shot at it, man. I felt like in that first game, he played well, but it's like he picked out here and there. I mean, you're looking like a kid, like he sounds like he wants to go out and be like, look, you saw what I did last week with 2 touchdowns. I'm trying to do even better than that this week and absolutely dominate this game. So this will be a matchup we're all looking forward to seeing.
Absolutely a matchup that we're all looking to see. Jeremiah Smith also said that he pulled Brian Hartline aside and told him to challenge him this week. I mean, that's the type of coach talk that makes me ready to run through a wall. Like, I complain about they don't say anything in these interviews, and that is one of the most, to me, feels like one of the most manufactured statements I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, that's fucking right. That's hard work right there. I loved every second of it. Give me more of that.
No, man, you can feel when they be like, all right, y'all rehearsed this. Like, nah, he made sure to throw that in there. He made sure to put that line in there. So I love it, man. I'm actually excited for the energy, and hopefully the team brings the energy this week and just want to give it the best shot. So across the board, I'm ready for this game, man. I keep believing in myself, like, oh, the game's today. Like, no, I gotta wait one more day to see this happen.
You brought up Will Howard's statements about another shot to compete against the Ducks. A thought that crossed my mind last night, and maybe it is the lunatic fringe in me. It is the need for therapy that Nick Saban says that the Buckeyes have. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, Oregon fans, if they lose this game, have to be looking around like, these motherfuckers. Like, we beat them in the regular season. They duck us in the Big Ten championship. We lose one fucking game all year because of this stupid-ass seeding, and the Buckeyes get to go on to a national championship. If the Ducks are to lose this game, how mad should the fans be about this path that they got, and the fact that the Buckeyes were able to skate the Big Ten championship, lose to them in the regular season, and then potentially get it done when it truly matters? Because it feels like the Oregon Ducks have been nothing but punished for what has been a remarkable season. Because if the Buckeyes had the exact same resume that the Ducks had right now, they would be losing their fucking minds talking about greatest team in college football history. And Oregon's looking at playing the second best team in the college football playoffs in their first round, in their first matchup of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it when they first did the seeding, and yeah, you absolutely would have to be pissed. You'd be like, bro, I don't want to see, like, make them go play Georgia, make them go beat Texas, and then like come back, like give them some battle scars. You thought Tennessee might do that. They did absolutely none, and all they did was kind of make it worse and be like, this is why you shouldn't have put them in the seed right before us to play us, because now this team is playing at an all-time high. So I would be absolutely pissed if it was the other way around. I'd be like, really? Like, throw them over there. Like, make us play them in the Natty, because this feels like the impromptu Natty game. You felt like going to the playoffs of the teams that have been consistent. Oregon has been the most. They should have got rewarded for that, and they didn't. And Ohio State has been that team where if they are on fire, they are probably the best team in the country. So to have that this early on, I think, not only to Oregon fans, but to this service of college football fans, this is a game you would really, if you had to see it again, because we played already, you want to see it in the Natty. You don't want to see it week 2 and then look at it like, oh, well, it's kind of downhill from here if Texas continues to be inconsistent or Georgia doesn't play their A game, which they rarely seem to do this season. It's kind of downhill. So I feel bad for Oregon fans and college football on that aspect.
Is it an Ohio State cope when I say it feels like conference championship meaning has went away, or it has been devalued by this larger playoff format?
I mean, yeah, I think if we won it, we would be like, yeah, we're Big Ten champs. We got it's definitely a cope. I mean, you want to be king of your conference, obviously.
But in the scenario that the Buckeyes do win tomorrow, how, like, do you think that they're going to still be wearing like Big Ten championship shirts in Eugene? No. And that's not a slight to them. I'm asking you genuinely, like,
I mean, you not a Big Ten team with your first playoff game. No, that just wouldn't feel good.
Because especially because like at least okay, cool. We have, I mean, I guess, like, what are you gonna do? Go rub it in Washington's face? Like, we're still beefing with Michigan. Like, Oregon's over there screaming, call us the team out west. And we're like, we haven't beat Michigan in 40 years. Like, if we beat them, like, where do they turn as far as, like, do you still celebrate the Big Ten championship? It feels like if they win, yeah, I guess the value is. But if you see a non-conference champion win the national championship this year, I mean, we've seen it in years past with Georgia, but I don't know. Let us know in the chat. Do you guys feel like the college football or the conference championship games have been devalued with this larger format, or am I just looking through my scarlet glasses? And Q, I don't know. Have you been looking at the chat? They have been. Rick Brick has been on 10 since 9:15 this morning in the chat. Every time I look over at the chat, it is Rick on someone's head or someone replying with Rick, comma. Bro has been 10 toes in the paint, going crazy in the chat this morning. Have you noticed it at all?
Well, he was the first one in the chat, so I'll give him the shout out. But also, bro, can you kick? Because if you bring that energy, we might need you on the field tomorrow to nail a 45-yarder as a walk away. And to answering your question, yeah, I mean, I guess if the seeding was a little bit different and Oregon maybe lost in the second round to somebody else that was not a Big Ten team, I feel like you could wear that with a little bit of confidence. But because of the matchup, you felt like these were the two best teams in the Big Ten. They played one. Oregon was at home, so they got the advantage. They now at a neutral field site. It does feel like this is now the impromptu Big Ten championship as it kind of should have been. So it devalues it a little bit. I mean, of Oregon fans, I feel like They are so dying for a win tomorrow because, again, you called the perfect storm with Oregon. Dylan Gabriel comes in, really solidifies that team. You felt like they made the right moves, and this is one of the better Oregon teams. You're talking about the most consistent team to winning a natty that has eluded them for so long. And they're like, look, man, can we just get over the hump like one time? We lived through Heisman Mariota. We've lived through all these good teams, and every time when it comes down to it, we can't just get over the hump. And if they walk out tomorrow and get beat by Ohio State, like, they're going to have that natty frustration on an all-time high because they felt like they've been the best team all year, and on the field they have been. So I think it'll feel more sick to them with that loss tomorrow than probably in the last couple of years of games.
Absolutely. Oregon fans, I've had trouble gauging. It feels like fake confidence right now from their fans, and like, I'd be lying to you if I said I was confident that I knew the Buckeyes would go and win. But I feel good about where our team is going into this game. And honestly, that's all I could ask for. As far as the performance that we saw out of Tennessee, or out of the Buckeyes against Tennessee, I don't think as a Buckeye fan, you can ask for anything better than that as far as a confidence boost going into the game. We saw the Buckeyes play their A game on both sides of the ball, and the coaches show up with a great game plan and executed it to perfection against Tennessee. And that's the type of confidence boost that you want to see as a Buckeye fan. But at the same time, what are the things that I've talked to you about all year about my worries and concerns about this rematch? And I would be fraudulent if I didn't address them and tell you that they still exist with me to this day. I mean, we lost Josh Simmons in there. Donovan Jackson has done a great job kicking out there, but we do have a makeshift offensive line. If this was the ideal offensive line that the Buckeyes thought gave them the best chance to win, it would have been the 5 out on the field when they started that Oregon game before people started getting hurt, but it wasn't. The Buckeyes have had to reach, and it's not to say these guys haven't played well, but it is an objective fact. These aren't their starters. Oregon will be getting their receiver, who hopefully won't be spitting on anyone this game.
Got to dehydrate him before the game.
Their number one edge rusher returns for the Buckeyes. These are all things that complicate this game, but as we discussed earlier, they got a fluke onside kick. Quinshon Judkins fumble. Where within the margins does this game settle? Because this game can go so many different ways, but logic seems to indicate that this is going to be an absolute fucking rock fight. And maybe rock fight might not be the most accurate description because it may be a shootout, but I feel like it is going to be a nail biter in some facet, whether it is a 3 yards on a cloud of dust and people are just playing defense the entire game, or if it's a complete shootout. I think this is going to be a game that no fan base on either side feels comfortable at any point.
Yeah. I mean, just thinking back to it, I mean, I feel like this is going to be pretty similar to how the first game, when the first game was back and forth.
Timeout. I hate to cut you off, bro. Wait. I just had a Miami fan in the chat say our defense is frauds.
Man, that's not a Miami fan. That's Gmo. We call him by name because his takes are so ridiculous.
Ohio State's defense are frauds. Gmo, I would like to direct you to Canes Unfiltered, members only, the Category 6 podcast. All of these places will inform you about how fraudulent your defense is.
Oh, Gmo, send me the link to the Canes Unfiltered. I need those space links, man. Y'all been leaving me out.
Q is allegedly blocked from all of the Canes Unfiltered leaders because he can't find no Miami spaces.
It must have been that 30 for 30 rant I went on. My bad.
My bad to cut you off.
No, you're good. But no, I feel like this will probably go similar to the first game. Ohio State's offense went in and played really well. You feel like you're going to kind of get that same version of the offense coming in this, maybe a little bit on steroids from last week. Maybe a little bit of the compound V is left around. Maybe a little bit of a better performance.
Peptide's back in town.
Yeah, because the compound V ran out last game in the fourth quarter. So maybe we'll get a little bit more. But it feels like this, and I'll say this, there's a lot of Buckeye fans that are confident. If there is a team, if this game does go a little bit one-sided at points, you feel like Ohio State has that ability. You felt like there was moments in that first Oregon game where it's like, Ohio State really has a chance to take control here. Oh, Quinshawn just fumbled. Ohio State really has a chance to take control here, or he really isn't moving the ball. Oh, Denzel Burke just forgot to run back as his wide receiver ran past him. So you feel like Ohio State has those moments where they can really get a 14-point lead, or they could double up and get a touchdown, get a stop, and then get another touchdown and kind of extend it a little bit. So if there is a team that I feel like can put some space on, it's Ohio State. But if they don't necessarily do that to grab momentum, I feel like it'll be a very back and forth game. But if there's a team to, kind of assert dominance, I feel like Ohio State has the ability to do it in this game.
The Buckeyes definitely have an opportunity, not just to assert dominance. If the Buckeyes are able to complete this run, they're going to be able to put to bed a bunch of narratives except for one. After this season,
you got to wait another year for it.
Yeah, just wait till November. We'll be able to put it all to bed except for one. I wanted to ask you one last question, and I'm completely blanking on what it. Huh?
Was it best and worst take, or is it Oregon related?
No, it was Oregon related. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember that we said we were going to do best and worst take, and I am going to start with my nominee for. Oh, I do remember. We're going to pause there because it is the last day of 2024, and I hate to get somber and sad during the holidays, but it's time. We have to put a phrase to bed, Q. And I don't know if you want to say a word, give a little eulogy. I know I didn't put this in the notes, but I better never fucking see that picture of Ryan Day screaming on the sidelines in that Georgia game ever again. I don't want to hear the phrase Georgia Ryan Day anymore. From here on out, no. It is Tennessee Ryan Day, and that is the coach that I want to see at games. We are going to stop referencing a GIF of our coach screaming on the sidelines in a game that we lost. I don't want that version of my coach to show up to the game because as animated as he was, we still lost that game. I am going to need to retire the phrase Georgia Ryan Day, and we need to update the phrase to Tennessee Ryan Day.
It's just Georgia Ryan Day just sounds bad. Just the two.
Stop it. But that was a loser. He was a loser.
Georgia Ryan Day.
Look at Posh. Tennessee Day.
Oh, Tennessee Day.
I like that. Rolls right off the tongue.
That just sounds like Tennessee Day.
It kind of sounds like something that you would drink on on a sunny day. Like, no.
Bro, that sounds like a character.
Like a happy dad.
What is that show? Bridgerton? That sounds like a character in that show where it's like 1841. It's like
Tennessee Day, Alabama Barker.
Oh man. I mean, I guess I can let you have it. I mean, I like Georgia Ryan Day because he went in outmanned, outgunned, and somehow almost won the game. But fine, if you want, blow Tennessee the hell out, Ryan Day, who isn't as good of a team as Georgia 2020.
We didn't beat Georgia, so it's not even like you'd be like, well, he beat a better team in Georgia. He lost. I keep trying to drive that point home.
Fine, Tennessee Day the third.
There we go. Shirt's coming soon. All right, Q. My nominee for my best take of the year.
Shout out to the U, man. They actually might be back. And plus, they play in the ACC.
They're not back. How would you say they're back? Because they beat the Florida Swamp Puppies, who aren't even going to be fucking bowl eligible. And we're ready to name them ACC champions. They don't even have the best fucking quarterback in the ACC.
They're going to make it.
That's Cal McCord at Syracuse yesterday. Everybody talking about Cam Ward. How about Cal McCord at Syracuse? The best quarterback in the ACC. Miami's not even going to win their own conference, let alone a goddamn championship. Let's pump the brakes. The U is not back. Wow. That guy's good. He's good.
I don't take much credit for this show, but I would like to take credit for starting that rant. I know it has long been forgotten, but you rewind the tape. I started and got Ron all wired up, but I said the U sucks. Call me when they beat Georgia Tech. And you went off quickly after that with, yes, the best take probably on the show of the year because Kyle McCord absolutely went in and slapped Miami and Cam Ward. Gmo is still crying on the phone. You still listen to Marvin's Room after that performance where Miami doesn't even play in the ACC championship behind SMU, which is absolutely abysmal. I don't know what Canes Unfiltered has said, but I need y'all to address all offseason of how SMU got into an ACC championship game over Miami, because I need to hear that one. So, yes, that's probably your best take of the year.
I don't know what you have nominated for yourself as best take of the year, but I know what I believe to be your best take of the year. And I mean, after the show, I called you and asked you if you had lottery numbers and if you had stock advice, because you did give a little financial advice, even though we're not supposed to do that around here. And you told all of our listeners before the season to sell their homes and buy as much Arvell Reese stock as possible.
I don't know.
Personally, I would argue that that's your best take from the show this year, but I don't know if you have one that you're ready to nominate.
Yeah, I would say I think that was a good one, especially seeing that Gabe Powers has now transferred out and Arvell Reese is looked to may at times be the best linebacker on the team. I would say my best take was probably coming that Penn State week, where Penn State, obviously, I forget their offensive coordinator's name because it's a little bit complicated, but he was doing all this shit. They got the wins. He had the offense. He was having tight ends run the ball, tight ends throw the ball to quarterbacks, backup quarterback run for 100 yards. And I said, look, I expect Jim Knowles to walk into Happy Valley, Sad Valley, and shut the fuck down. And that's exactly what he went and did that Penn State week. We needed that win. It was a must win. People were on Jim Knowles' head because of the Oregon game, and I said, nah, just wait a minute. Watch this masterclass Jim Knowles is about to put out. And I think that was probably my best take because he absolutely went into Penn State and shut shit down. So I think that was probably my best take of the year.
Enough patting ourselves on the back. I think both of us delivered our worst takes of the year in the same show. One to fucking be remembered. And if you didn't go full-blown dive off the ledge, I think we'd be talking about what I said on that show. So I guess we'll tee it up with what I said. And I said Kalen DeBoer was a better coach than Ryan Day and the second best coach in college football. Wrong.
Yeah, I think we were both probably there. I don't know if that's your worst.
You think I got worse?
I'm pretty sure we can find worse than that.
If anyone in the chat, if they have a worse take for me this year than that, please let me know. I know you. I know there's one.
Sure there's something out there to be like, what? It's got to be out there somewhere. But yeah, I guess right now you could say that was not a great take. Unfortunately, I stole the show that day, even though we all forget how much credit I gave Dan Lanning, who got challenged. You know what? That might be Ron's worst take right there.
I didn't put Dan Lanning in my top 5.
Dan Lanning is so good. And Ron said, "What the hell has he done? He ain't got no conference titles."
At the time, he hadn't beat anybody until he beat Ryan Day. So
he don't got to win against Ohio State. He doesn't have a number 1 playoff seed. Who is Dan Lanning?
That's what I'm saying. Now, next year's show, when I talk about Dan Lanning, I'm like, bro, beat Ohio State.
Yeah, so that maybe, but yeah, obviously, I don't even have to mention.
Well, here before we reveal for there's 561 people listening. Before we reveal the worst take of the year on this platform, there's 560 people watching. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you retweet that video, like that video, give us a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Q, you were very high on one coach before this season, had very glowing things to say about this person. Before we reveal the name of one of your top coaches in college football preseason, are you still high on this coach? Are you sticking by him?
Now look, for
Hey,
seconds of screen time on this show, with all the outlandish stuff that has been said over the years, I think I have been buried the most for a take that was quite quality at the time. Now this coach has gone on to absolutely forget how to coach and has been abducted by aliens, which is what I'm going with. The real Mike Norvell will be back next season. He gets, New Jersey, That's where Mike Norvell is. They have absolutely abducted him and has all kind of stuff going over there. So I don't know if he's on an Iranian ship or up in space, but the real Mike Norvell will be back. So I will be backing Mike Norvell next season.
I just can't believe that you believed in a head coach with cornrows. Oh, man, you saw that picture of Mike Norvell as a player with his hair braided and said, yep, that's my guy. I believe in his decision-making. Yes, he went out and got his hair braided like a young girl on vacation in the Bahamas, but that's my coach. That's my guy I'm rolling with.
Yeah, you gotta. Hey, at this point, I'm too far.
Who was your coach of the year before that? Mel Tucker?
Okay. Hey man, Tuck will be back also. He just
all you gotta do is do something flashy in the portal and Q's all in on your team.
Hey, if you have a great take like Dan Lanning, you got to balance it out. I had to give some balance to the show. As we get some balance, Mike Norvell will be back, even though he very much disappointed me this season.
Well, that's all we have. This is our last show of 2024. We appreciate everybody who has supported us all season through the late starts, missed shows, bad takes. But we have made it through the year, and we appreciate it. Couldn't be more thankful of everybody that chooses to tune in. A big shout out to all of our members, our guy J8, Posh, Emily, Charles, all of our OGs. If we forgot you, I mean, obviously, we could go on and on and on. We appreciate everybody. Our guy Mike Grain, who is always killing it with the super chats. Just so thankful for the community around us and everyone that has supported us this year. Q, anything left for this year?
Oh man, it's you look back, man. It's been a good season. I mean, unfortunately, you just think back when it started, that absolutely abysmal performance against Missouri, and now look at us, 365 days later, and we're talking. Oh, we just beat Oregon. We were completing this natty gauntlet ring that has evaded us for 10 years. So it's been a crazy season. Obviously, shout out to Mike and Cam. I'm having them around, but the chat, man, y'all have been holding it down all year long. It's been fun. Y'all been in here early. I know we've been inconsistent with times. It's been hard to wake up at 5/6 o'clock on days, but if there's any reason to wake up, to hang out with y'all and my guy Ron for a good hour in the morning. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to Gmo for the crazy takes. Shout out to Rick Brick for holding it down. Shout out to all the OGs, man. It's a great time.
Shout out to Gmo. He gave us tickets to auction or give away at the beginning of the year. Our guy Dylan sent us some awesome pictures from that game. We really appreciate all the people that truly support us. We will be back. You can catch me and Chris Drew on Bleacher Report next year, also known as tomorrow, for an instant reaction after the game. We will be here for a full game preview. Maybe we have a guest, maybe we won't, who knows, but we will be back tomorrow. We have post game on Bleacher Report on Wednesday. I heard someone say on another podcast, it's just all been a blur, they called it the Bermuda Triangle, the time between Christmas and New Year's. And for me, I'm off work from the 23rd to the 6th. I have not known what day it was for about 11 days now. I have no idea what day of the week it is, what I'm supposed to be doing, when it is. I saw someone say, I can't wait for the Buckeyes to play on Saturday last week. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, fuck, they play on Wednesday. So I've just been in a complete blender. Hopefully, once we write this calendar and get back to a normal schedule, maybe your boy gets back to work and starts writing the date on a regular basis, I'll have a better concept of time and we'll have things here together. We do plan on at least giving content and through the rest of the season and then reevaluating what our schedule will be from there. But you can depend on us until then, kind of. You'll see. I use the word depend loosely.
Hey, we do a great job of not showing up, and everyone's like, where the hell you at? I mean, when we come back, look at the numbers.
We bring the fucking heat, man.
When you starve them of this quality content, they show up for the next time you show up.
Exactly. We appreciate you guys. I mean, we've been doing this. This is our second season, right? Second season together, second full season.
It's been a minute, man. I just remember the time I was a little movie podcaster, just talking. I got some recommendation. Ron, if you have not, and this is for the chat too, if you have not watched Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, and I know probably a good amount of you have, it's on Paramount Plus. It's probably up there with the best shows on TV right now. It's absolutely amazing. It's Billy Bob Thornton. He's a general manager at an oil rig company. And it's crazy. It's a crazy show. I love it. So
that was our first sponsored segment of the year. Clap it up. Our new deal with Paramount Plus. If you want to sign up today, that's where our show is going to be moving. Sign up with the code BONNET.
Oh man, yeah, let's get that first deal out the way. Just little old CBS.
A small startup. Picked up the show.
Oh, don't read. Go get a box and watch it.
Yeah.
Our second sponsor.
Get a box.com.
Get a box and go watch it. But
you know what we're gonna get?
Along with Lioness.
We're gonna get out of here. We've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. My mom's on her way bringing me breakfast.
Someone's lucky.
I appreciate everybody tuning in to the show. You guys know how this ends. Clearly with snot dripping down my face because I'm sick. But the other way it ends is go Bucks and OH.
Ayo.
Chris hit us up. He said, why do people just assume Ohio State can win a national title every year? My answer is because they can win a national title every year.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. It's about stamina. It's about you won't break me. You can't take me. It's too late now. It's too late. You should have broke me a long time ago. I'm unbreakable now. The only chance at this point is you gotta kill me. And you gotta kill me now. And then when you kill me, my legacy will live.